29.
Shoptalk number 29!
Shoptalk 29?
Welcome back. I need a drink.
Oh, drink. We're out of track. Okay, we're back, and this is the 29th edition of Shoptalk.
Hey, maybe we should do something special for the 30th.
Ooh, yeah.
I have some special drinks for the 30th one.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah,
today?
so today, well, I was wondering, because this year, actually, it's been a really, really good year if you like it cold.
Around here, yeah.
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 I don't like it cold. But anyway, it's been really cold.
No, you don't like it
With cold, I have two instruments that I brought in here. And I brought them into the shop because I was concerned about them. So they were
Why?
showing signs of, yeah, it wasn't good. The funny thing is this, is I brought in two of them, but I've left two more, three more, in the house.
Mhm.
Why did I bring in
Why?
those two and not the other ones? Do you have any explanation for that?
Well, I think it's what today's Shop Talk is about, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is overbuilt and what is underbuilt?
Yeah. So why would Overbuilt, so it's funny, the ones I brought in were the expensive guitars.
Mm-hmm.
The ones I left were the cheap
Yeah.
guitars. But it wasn't just because they were cheaper. I mean, they were showing signs, but it wasn't like distressful. Distressy? How much? Yeah. So why would that be?
Well, yeah, I think it's just that balance that guitar makers have to decide where they are. Like, there's a scale, and you can either be on the overbuilt end, or you can be on the very lightweight, responsive, underbuilt end of the spectrum.
So, but when you say, that's interesting. Okay, so overbuilt and means what?
Overbuilt.
Is it stronger?
Well, stronger. This is where I feel like my building approach is more finding where I can overbuild.
Hmm.
And I guess like other guitar makers do that as well. But overbuilding can be a bad thing as far as sound quality goes.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a good thing. It could also be it could also make no difference to the sound
Right.
of the guitar. Or the response.
Depending on where. So, but generally we would say if a guitar is lasting and is able to withstand certain kind of bashings or heat, moisture is actually the biggest thing, the dryness.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more, we would say that's overbuilt.
Usually, yeah.
Correct. And so why wouldn't you, and the cheap ones, like factory ones that I've had, you could throw those things around and you could have them out and
They're not even made of wood, some of them.
one of them, it's wood, it's just wood and glue.
Right.
Combined together
You
to
can glue
form.
in a bit of wood.
Yeah, that's right.
But basically, yeah. There's an extreme end of the spectrum, although it doesn't. It's an end of the spectrum, but it's still a guitar.
Yeah,
It still plays
fun.
as a guitar.
Fun to play.
It has a different sound. It has a unique
Yeah.
sound, and sometimes some people would say that's a better sound. I don't know.
That might be a little extreme.
There are probably some people that get. Yeah, you're right. That might be a little bit extreme.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
it can be like.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I love my guitars, all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just some are a little more inspirational. Okay, then on the underbuilt side, you're saying you do that because, why wouldn't everybody just build it?
Well, I think
Stronger.
the car analogy is good here.
Yeah.
Because you can build a really lightweight car that's made to go
For speed.
fast,
Yeah.
and will just blow apart if it hits a bad
Yeah,
bump.
or you could be, yeah.
Or you could have a tank
Right.
that's built to last a long time,
Right.
but not go as fast.
Or drive as nicely, or hug
Yeah.
the road, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing goes with guitars, where if you get a guitar that's built really lightweight, oftentimes it's really lively sounding. It projects really well, with a very light touch. Interestingly enough, they don't usually do very well if you play them hard. But it's that side of the spectrum where instant gratification. You get a guitar that sounds really good for a shorter period of time.
Right.
And I guess in this instance, it kind of plays into the builder's philosophy too, right? Do they want their guitars to last a long time and maybe not quite sound as huge and
right out of the box,
and to a light touch or
right.
whatever, but they're willing to take some longevity
right.
For that.
So what areas would you say most affect? Like if I make my neck skinnier, is that going to affect the sound? No. If I take the well, I might actually. If I took the carbon fiber rods or the truss rod out, would it, will it affect the sound? Probably
Maybe,
not
but
noticeably, not in what you were talking about. So that's an area you could overbuild it, so to speak, or it's just actually appropriately built.
Right.
Although some people don't put in truss rods, right?
Yeah. A good example of overbuilding, which some guitar makers would say helps the sound, is if you laminate your sides. Or if you do those full width liners, you're adding a bunch of structure and mass to the sides, and supposedly it makes their guitar sound better. Right,
it'll make it solid, so there's no splitting that's going to happen due to weather changes, shrinking wood, or anything like that.
So that's
even hit it.
Yeah, it's more durable, and it'll probably last longer.
Yeah. And why doesn't everybody then do that?
I've found I don't really like the results as much as I originally thought I would.
Okay.
So I might.
So it does affect the sound.
Yeah,
in
it
your
does, for sure.
In your well-tuned ears.
Well, it doesn't affect the sound in the way that I would like it to affect the sound. So I choose not to do it.
Right.
And
millions of guitars have been built before without it as well.
Yeah.
It lasted pretty long. Where else could you overbuild a guitar? Well, let's use, for example, let's talk about your Ember series.
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay. So the Ember series, you want to just grab it so they can see what we're talking about here?
Yeah.
So he'll just hold this for a little bit. There you go. So this is a guitar that my first guitar, Zach helped me build. He kind of came up with these concepts, and this,
And I would say my first Ember series guitar that I made was Underbuilt.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is, and I have this guitar at home. I play it all the time.
Right.
And the guitar actually the top caved in a little bit, and it's stayed there ever since. But it you could see there's a dip. So I knew, and I hadn't done enough tests on that first one. And these ones, I feel like I went a bit on the other end of the spectrum, which is it worked out really well because it sounds great, but I know it's definitely not going to cave in.
Right.
On the next Ember series, I'll probably go a little bit lighter bracing, and just see like if I can get closer to that.
Okay, so in that case, when you're talking about over, so his top was caving in a little bit. It actually, as you said, you play it. It's not the end of the world.
No.
But it did give you a little bit of a scare.
Yeah.
Which is why he has it at his house.
And it's not for
sale. Yeah. So this one he went a little bit over that, like just to make sure that there was none, because he has no supports here around the F holes, so that will cave in a little bit. So in that case, your overbuilding is actually just all about, you're just talking about the top bracing.
Yeah, and then there's this, that first guitar made me realize a lot of things about this style of guitar. And this wasn't an issue yet, but it might have been eventually. But the the strings are pulling from here
Right.
and to here. So these blocks want to cave inwards this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a whole lot stopping it from doing that other than the top and the back.
Right.
Because it's going to stretch out the back and
Yes.
push.
Crunches this top.
Yeah, and in some of the older guitars, this heel block, if it's narrow, has actually crushed inwards here.
Mm.
So my heel blocks are wider. I don't think they would ever actually do that. But on these guitars, I put braces that go on the sides of the tail block all the way up to the sides of the heel block. So that'll stop any twisting from happening.
Right.
Is that overbuilt?
I think so.
It probably is, yeah. But you know a great thing about this guitar?
Yeah.
It's like a tank.
Right.
If you're a traveling musician,
So it doesn't play well, but it's like a tank.
It plays great.
So here
And
comes
it's like a tank.
Here comes really the goal that
Yeah,
we
it
as guitar builders would, and if I was a guitar builder, I would feel the same.
I wouldn't say it's the goal. I would say
Okay.
it's getting closer to the goal.
Okay,
Because the goal never gets reached.
It is a goal though. It's to build a guitar that will
Yeah.
last
Mhm.
longer, no issues,
Mhm.
and yet play like a dream.
Yeah.
That's really what
Yeah.
we would say we were targeting for
Yeah.
in every
for
guitar
sure.
we build.
Yeah. Yeah. I, for one, believe that if you're going to spend thousands of dollars on a guitar, it better friggin' last a long time.
Yeah, at least your lifetime.
At least my lifetime, yeah. But it could also be an inherited or an inheritance.
Yeah, and we say that doesn't mean that there may not be a need for some repairs at some point. Given changes humidity,
Mm.
things getting knocked, whatever.
Yeah, any guitar that's put in very dry conditions is not going to like it.
Yeah, and anytime you use a guitar, you're going to get some.
Yeah.
That's part of the joy of the guitar.
Yeah, you'll get some wear.
Yeah.
Happening. These ones I also did laminated sides.
Those are
I think on this one
that's
that's
the biggest area
Yeah.
though, isn't it?
Mm.
That would affect the sound.
Yeah.
Another area though that you could tweak a little bit, and some people like to do, because this guitar, if you play it, it's got like a it's just got that vibe to it, right?
Yeah.
Well, some people would probably want to play that with a slide.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, they might want to lift the top, the string. So that's a similar idea. It's not about overbuilding, but sometimes you make it less playable by lifting the strings a little bit.
Yeah. I've actually often thought, I've thought about this with the Ember series, but
Yeah.
how cool would it be if there was a little lever at the headstock which lifts the nut, and then you can play slide.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
you can anyway. It's just a clack.
Yeah, it's
Clack,
hard
clack,
to
clack.
play.
Yeah.
I definitely can't do it. But
No.
Joe,
But a good,
Joe
yeah, a
can
good,
do it,
a good slide player could do it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, personally, I don't think I would. I guess some people do it, don't they? They raise the string action so that they can play slide.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Or their guitar action gets really high, so
And they like it.
decide it's
Yeah.
a slide guitar.
Yeah. No, when Joey played mine before I had done the finish the setup, he said he liked the way it was for slide at that point. It wasn't very fun to play up the neck without a slide.
Not anymore, though.
Not anymore, no. Yeah. So that's so our goal, or your goal, would be to build a guitar that lasts, and to be careful to overbuild or to build it appropriately.
Yeah, actually, there is another consideration too here. When you're overbuilding, oftentimes it's adding weight to the guitar, which is not great. Some people really don't like a heavy guitar.
Right.
Some people love a guitar that's heavier.
Yeah.
I personally like lightweight instruments, but some of the best sounding guitars I made were the heaviest ones.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
The Black Beauty.
Yeah.
That was Richlight back and sides.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's heavy.
But
it sounds like a dream.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas
that was-
the Wenge Rosewood, it wasn't a very heavy guitar.
No.
Or Redwood, sorry, Wenge Redwood,
yeah.
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 But those Honduran Rosewood guitars you're making will be heavy.
Yeah, they'd be heavier.
Because that wood is heavier.
Yeah, although it's
Not as
probably
heavy.
pretty close to what Wenge is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Wenge is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I mean, but weight, I mean, that's just personal feel. It doesn't even necessarily affect the sound
yeah,
as much as the stiffness of the sides or the thickness, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
although, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. 'Cause
Yeah,
I played some light guitars and it feels like the whole thing's just...
Right.
And
And
it's
you
the
like
same with
it?
my cello. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cello is the same way. It's light as a feather.
Yeah.
And the whole thing just like...
Mm.
It's like...
Right.
When you play it and you hug it, it just feels like the best
So-
thing
For whatever.
ever.
Okay. Nice.
Sorry.
I should play that sometime. Sounds like a good experience. So what you're really saying is that there is no one answer, but when somebody buys a lighter, more responsive guitar,
Mhm.
they should be more conscientious of the way that weather or bumps will affect their guitar.
Yes. Especially when it comes to like the top thickness,
Okay.
for example. If
Yeah.
you get a thin top
Yeah.
and there's all that string tension pulling
Mm-hmm.
and you start drying it out, there's
Yeah.
only this much thickness
Yeah.
keeping it from cracking.
Cracky. Yeah.
So a thinner top is obviously way more prone to cracking.
And it's obviously more responsive.
And the tops are going to be where you're going to have your major
Mhm.
issues.
But that's what makes it feel light, because the lighter the top is, the more responsive the guitar is.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean
it's
it's
interesting.
necessarily.
Yeah, because there are issues that come up with that too, though. Because if you do a really thin top, you're liable to get wolf notes.
Mm.
And with wolf notes, you get dead spots on the guitar.
Mm.
It's where certain
Right.
notes ring to
Too much.
a resonant frequency
Right.
on the guitar. So a thin top, I don't build with thin tops
No.
because I feel like the benefits far the detriments far outweigh the benefits.
Yeah. The bad parts.
The bad parts outweigh the good parts.
Yeah, you don't want wolf notes.
No, wolf notes
Although everybody loves wolves.
and notes.
And notes. But you don't want the wolf notes.
No.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
So-
so there are benefits.
Yeah.
It's the same. We keep coming back to this thing where it's all subjective, right?
Right.
So you can
Well-
have the fast car that doesn't last as
Yeah.
long.
But you do have to understand, if you buy a guitar that is a little bit underbuilt, you may love the way it feels, but you have to be a little more conscious of,
Humidity and
and
bumping it even.
Yeah. knocking
Yes,
it. Yes.
definitely. Yeah, especially in a climate like ours where winter comes, it gets dry. Furnaces kick on, it gets drier.
Right.
The dryness is the worst thing.
Yeah. So you can I honestly have a $300 guitar
Mhm.
next to a $6,000 guitar,
Mhm.
and I'm not worried about the $300 guitar.
Yeah.
Not because of the price, but because it's built to withstand
Yeah.
pretty much anything.
Yeah.
I would like to try drive it over and see what happens. But the other one is not built for that. It's built for the inspiration and the responsiveness and the beauty that comes from, So, I think there is this expectation that some people as buyers would have, that I paid this money, it's going to be really solid and
Mhm.
beautiful to play. And that's not always necessarily the case.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, for all the guitar makers watching this, all of you, where do you fit on the scale? What do you think?
Yeah.
About,
Or are you skipping around?
yeah.
Like, are you trying different things? Like, because
I
it's a
think
never-ending
it's great.
hunt, I think, for the well, solid built guitar that's great to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of ways to approach it.
Yeah, if you find that though, maybe worth a lot of money.
Maybe.
Although people don't care. They're only gonna play it for 20 years.
Yeah, gibsons are the best.
To Gibson.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
All right, yeah.
Or next in a couple weeks.
In 2 weeks, we'll see you again for Shop Talk number 30.
30.
Whoa. Yeah. Cheers.